Alrighty, welcome to episode 251 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, I'm going to say it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has reduced supercharging costs at several of its Western Australian locations. Coogee has Perth's cheapest peak and off-peak rates of 47 and 31 cents per kilowatt hour, while Albany sports the cheapest fixed rate of 37 cents per kilowatt hour. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and once again, welcome to the program. Alrighty, as is customary, if there is anyone who is comfortable and is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello. Or perhaps a little bit later on. Alrighty, has anyone got any, opening questions or comments?
If no one's going to go, then I'll
Oh,
I've got,
yeah, thanks,
I
Paul,
can
because I was
always,
about
I
to
can
say,
always
well,
talk.
thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you on next week's program. Yeah, go, Paul.
Um, I was checking, with the supercharged votes sort of stuff. Norseman and Ceduna are sort of neck and neck for Australia.
When I
But I
last looked,
was,
it was 298 votes to Norseman
yeah,
and 296, 278 to Norseman,
yes,
276 to Sejuna.
Ceduna.
So it's neck and neck.
So I was sort of wondering, I was watching like Thailand, South Korea, and Japan. I don't know if we're in the same voting bucket as those guys.
I think technically we're certainly, when you look at the leaderboard
Yes,
by region, we are in the
yeah,
APAC region.
yeah.
But I'm quite confident, I'm almost all but certain that Australia will get its own winner,
Okay, cool.
regardless of how little our votes are relative to the
Yep.
other APAC countries.
Okay.
And I think
Oh,
New
well,
Zealand will also get their own as well, just
now we're
quietly.
kicking Zuzi. Oh, okay. Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
because
yeah, so we don't need to kick New Zealand because
we already are.
they're our cousins.
Yeah, and we
Um,
like them anyway.
and New Zealand is in our constitution. Just go and read it. It's just
Yep.
that they didn't join. But yeah, so and actually to that end, please everyone in the room or watching this on YouTube or X, please do vote. And particularly, look, even if you vote for Norseman and Sejuna,
Yeah,
because to
that'd be
be
good.
honest, either way, we as a community win because we're getting Australia or Perth closer connected via superchargers to the eastern states. And ideally, they put one at both, but it really doesn't matter which end they pick because next voting round it'll be the other one. So let's
Cool.
just try and put those votes in. If you have not yet voted, even if you just put those two votes up and well, you can vote for anything else you prefer if you're local to wherever your nearest proposed supercharger might be. But please do vote for Norseman. And really, it doesn't hurt to vote for Sejuna as well, because like I said, it doesn't matter which one gets it. We all win.
Cool.
Cool. Good one, Paul. Uh,
Um,
anyone?
I'd like,
Yes,
hi,
Cole.
yeah, hi mate. I haven't been on for a while, but I'd like to ask a question. I don't know enough about it. My partner's had a battery or inverter installed in her house in Mandurah because I go to Mandurah every week. Every week, I'm down there
Yep.
2 or 3 days. I run around and charge at the three ChargeFox chargers there. So I'm trying to get quotes now to put in a home charge or a wall charger.
Yep.
What am I supposed to be looking at? I'm getting so many different advice from electricians or whatever. Is it the Tesla connected Gen 3 or is it I just don't know what I was supposed to be
Yeah.
looking at.
Okay. So I think it's $770 for the Tesla wall connector. They call it these
Yeah,
days,
yeah,
which is either a single. It's a joint single/three phase charger.
yeah,
So Doesn't matter whether you got single phase or three phase, that'll do both.
All right.
And look, that's, to be honest, that's the simplest. It gets it's got about a 7.5 or 7.2 meter cable, so that's nice and long if you're in a double garage. Pro tip is, it depends on how you park in your garage. Let's presume you reverse into your garage. If you do, then the ideal location, if you're ever going to be a 2 EV family or a 2 Tesla family, is as you're facing outwards, it's on the left-hand side, because the car that's against the charger will be closest to it, but the charge port of the car next to it will be also, that's the closest it'll get if it's on the left-hand side as opposed to the right-hand side.
The battery inverter's been installed on the left, sorry, in there on the left-hand side.
Yeah, perfect.
I think I don't understand it. I think it gives 31, I don't know, 31K. I'm not sure what it is.
Okay, do you know if she's got a single-phase house or a three-phase house?
It's a single-phase house.
Oh, single.
And it's a Fox, I think it's a Fox something battery system inverter being put in.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So single-phase house, you'll get
50 Ks.
for 50 k's an hour added range for a Model 3 or a Y, roughly.
Yeah, I've got a Y, and that's all I need, because all I need to do is charge to 80%, get back to Perth okay without a charge at places. And from Mindari to there's 103 k's, 5 k's. I can get down there, using 30%, 31 or 30, nearly 40% sometimes, but that's all I need. So.
Well, in fact, Cole, all you need to do is, if you're at 80% when you leave home in Mindari, you can get from Mindari to Mandurah back, no issues whatsoever. But it is handy to top up in Mandurah.
Yeah, but I need to do some running around in Mindari.
Yeah, of course.
Emergency takeoff. I like to that, but because I've been plugging off her just to the normal wall power, but 14-hour charges.
It's slow, yes. It is.
So the minimum. So you reckon 7 kW is enough?
Well, the thing is, on a single phase house, that's all you can get because it's single phase. Right. So the limit on a single phase input into the Teslas, and in fact all EVs, pretty much, is 32 amps single phase. Or if you have a 3-phase house or a 3-phase connection, you can pull 16 amps 3-phase, which is 11 kilowatts, or it's 11.5 kilowatts, or 7.6 kilowatts on a single phase. But look, anything that's, even if it was sort of 20 amp single phase would be quite okay. Yeah. Once at 50 kilometers an hour added overnight for 10 hours, you've got 500 k's, which is 5 it's more than your car can hold anyway, so that's fine. It's but you are right. Look, I've got a son that is living on 10 amp charging, and he doesn't drive that much, and it's okay if you plugged in every night and effectively replaced what you used on average, it'd be totally fine. But yeah, it's definitely better. Look, there are a lot of other companies selling other chargers, and I don't think really any other value for money that the Tesla wall connector is. And the great thing is you can order it on your app and you can get it delivered to your home for free. Yeah. So it's free delivery, and it's easy to install.
If hypothetically because she's starting to really enjoy the electric vehicle, it take me a while to convince her, and if she might get one.
Yes.
So will the Tesla wall charger do other cars?
Yes, it'll do all EVs. So you can, in the version 3 wall connector, you can actually set it. I think the default setting is all EVs. Yeah. You can, if you wish, restrict it to Teslas, and you can, in fact, I believe, restrict it to certain VINs in like an advanced setting. But yes, you can absolutely set it to be universal, in which case it'll just charge all EVs. And, the thing is, any family that gets an EV will inexorably almost be guaranteed to get a second one, because it doesn't take long to realise that EVs are the way to go. And that's irrespective of current events and future events. It's
Well,
just,
a good analysis of that, and I wondered why, because I did a quick spreadsheet today on travelling. I've just travelled 4,500 kilometres back and forwards to Albany over the last 5 weeks because my mum was in hospital, back and forwards, and then back and forwards the airport to Mandurah and Margaret River because of my partner's birthday and picking people up right around. So I
yep,
did 4,500 k's, and I charged it all the codes in ups, Albany's, Williams, Busselton, Mandurah, and I went through today to do a spreadsheet on this. I couldn't believe and you're right, the charging in Williams and Albany had dropped.
yeah,
In coaching.
37 cents in
Yeah.
Albania, as I call it.
Yeah.
And that's just, I mean, look, that's about 6 cents dearer than the home rate for getting very fast charging and the convenience of that. And that's 24/7. So that's, Albany's
So
a great
I
deal.
worked out at the current February, March average fuel rate, it was a saving of $888 against fuel and charging.
Yeah, yep, yep, absolutely. And just as a reminder for everyone, if you didn't sort of look at the news closely, there are some of the indicative pricing. I mean, at Kings Park after 11, 33 cents. I mean, that's
Yeah.
roughly 2 cents, and carrying up the same after midnight, all the way to 9 a.m. actually. So that's pretty good if you get up not even early, really, just before work.
That's
It's
great support. I was worrying that they would lift it, so that's great support.
No. It is really interesting because I mean I'm super surprised these prices are so cheap, and Coogee. So if you live in that sort of south coastal or southwestern suburbs, 31 cents after 11, or 47 all day, and everywhere else it's roughly 49, and Albany is 37 all day. So
I
that's
don't know if it's true. I heard a rumor that Mandurah might get a Tesla chargers down there.
it was originally on Tesla's planned list, and then it dropped from that list. It's now been added as a voting candidate.
Oh,
To be honest, I think Mandurah will get it one way or another sometime soon, purely because of economic forces, and once there's a a certain amount of pressure for Tesla to provide it because of the cars that are in the area, it'll just get done anyway. So it will
sorry.
come.
The only other quick that to do the charging, I then now have to try and work out and understand the solar and the charging and to the grid, and where to work out the best time to charge, whether it's during the day or at night now. So that's my next thing to try and work out.
Okay, so depending on the battery size and the solar size, which I'm guessing is going to be in both cases relatively small, there's a
We've had it increased to I don't know the correct term. We've had it increased so it gives a better output.
yep. So look, let's just say there's a couple of strategies. If you can charge during the middle of the day, so between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m.
Yeah,
on any day of the week, and you use your car a lot. So let's say your car or cars tends to dominate your total electricity use, and you've got some solar and some battery. Then what you could try and do is run the numbers, and you've got to sort of simulate it yourself. Run the numbers on going on Synergy's daytime saver plan, which is 8 cents per kilowatt hour between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m.
yeah,
But it's about 51 cents or 52 cents per kilowatt hour between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. So the critical thing there is you would want to make sure you've got battery storage sufficient to ride through the 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. period where you pay super high power costs. And if you can do that, and you can do that with air cons and your
yeah,
lifestyle,
yeah.
not charging the car because you'd be mad to charge a car then you could consider taking up that EV plan, or that plan. By the way, between 9 p.m. and Or let's
From
call it
6
roughly
a.m.
9 a.m. It's
and 6.
roughly the 22 cent of the 30 cents, the normal tariff. I think there's another 6 to 9, but that's a minor thing. So
Yeah.
if you can get yourself over that 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. rip-off period, then and you use a lot of EV power, then regardless of the solar, because you can even tell your battery to force charge itself so it's full at 3 p.m. to
Yeah.
ride you through this peak period. Then you can take the 8 cent per kilowatt hour advantage and try and charge your car in the middle of the day. Otherwise, really, you're better off on the standard flat 31-cent tariff
Yeah.
and trying to trickle charge your car during the day when your solar panels have excess solar that would otherwise go to the grid for almost no benefit. So then you try and sort of skim the solar slowly during the daytime. If you
So
if you want to absolutely minimize your costs.
yeah, we're believing this one. We're believing that there's going to be enough in there so that there won't be any cost because we've increased the battery and so it goes to the grid and then you do it off the grid. That's what I'm
There's
hoping.
there's a great Russian saying, trust but verify. So it's okay to believe that.
Yeah.
Verify it by looking at a subsequent bill, or you've no doubt got a smart meter, and you can log on to Synergy's website with your account details, and you can get you get very accurate usage, like not quite by the minute, but by very small time slices throughout the day, and you can actually see how everything's performing and
I'm
see
not
how
sure
it's
if I
going.
can. I'm not sure if I can get access to the
No, but your
synergy.
partner can. No, but your partner can
Yeah, but
certainly.
it's not the car's licensed to me, so I don't know how that we can do that. The
No,
car's
not the car. No, not the car. This is the Synergy account,
yeah.
so you
Yeah,
can see
but
how.
her signature account. Don't you have to prove that you've got a lot
Oh no,
the
no,
rest
sorry. Forget the Synergy EV
basic? Yeah,
discount.
yeah,
That in order to get that these days as a new add-on,
yeah,
you have to have joined the daytime saver tariff, which, like I said, you
yeah,
need to be cautious of
yeah,
because there are a lot of there's a lot of energy consumption that happens between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. that you have no control of. If you turn up to a hot house at 6 p.m., you will be turning an aircon on if it's refrigerated, and that will be consuming energy. So, you know, you don't want to suffer for the fun of trying to minimize your 50 cent per kilowatt hour
yeah.
expenditure that you end up it's
Rob pleaded to pay Paul.
well you're basically ripping yourself off.
Yeah,
you're
that's
you're
right.
you're, you're making yourself suffer for a game theory, and it's
All
just
right,
not
no, that's
worth
great.
it.
Sorry to take your time, guys. That's brilliant.
No,
That's
I
all
no, it's
right.
fine. That's why we're here.
No, that no, and it's something that, like I said, I recommend anyone does this. Look, if you've got a big battery, and I'm talking for a house that has refrigerated aircon, it's got to be well north of 20 kilowatt hours.
it's
Um,
I think it's 31.
that's not bad. So that's pretty good. So
Yeah,
if you use it carefully, and for example in winter, make sure that it's always been forced fed full, and you can set your system up, or you can get advice on how the system can be set up to make sure it force fills itself even from the grid at 3 p.m. to be full. So then all you need to do is ride through till 9 p.m., and that's over the worst part of the tariff. And then after that, it's back to the 30 odd cents. Then, then what you do, the strategy there is if you can, just charge your car during the period between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m.
yeah. All right.
And in doing so, you'll at worst, if there's not much solar, you'll only be paying 8 cents per unit, which is really
Yeah,
cheap.
yeah. It's great. Excellent. Thanks, guys.
No
Thanks, Ron.
worries. All right. Anyone else have any questions or comments?
I can I could say something else then to
Yeah,
keep
go
it
on.
keep it ticking along, or we're going to very quiet. I had a busso trip last weekend. Took my uncle out for lunch and all that sort of stuff. And
Oh, me too. Yeah, go on.
cool. I was
Well,
at
I
the
mean,
Busselton.
passing through on the way
Oh
to
yeah, I
Margaret
was at
River.
the Busselton Path, you know, charging up, which was very nice since we went, pushed the Model Y down, so we got the good prices. But the funny thing is my brother and his wife were there as well, and they're actually going to get a Model Y now. So after all these years, sort of stuff. So I think the whole oil prices and stuff, and me dribbling on about Tesla for the last 6.5 years finally wore them down. So
Yeah, I know, like this crisis, which, and it is, make no mistake, it is a problem because
yeah,
no matter how much governments will say, oh, we're getting the same amount of fuel as we always did. I went to a birthday thing event on Sunday, and my stepfather-in-law was telling my father-in-law that, he's not going to, and these people are in their 80s,
yeah,
he's not going to go on any long trips until all this crisis has been sorted out, and that he's got 40 litres of petrol in his garage, obviously in jerry cans.
yeah,
And there's a lot of people doing this, and you can't blame that kind of motivation because you don't want to miss out. But in doing
yeah,
so, that creates a shortage and whatever,
yep,
and prices are going through the roof. And then you get people like the newspapers and people, ringing, going, "Hey, so I guess everyone wants to buy an EV now." And it's like, well,
yeah,
the
yeah,
best time to buy an EV was the day before you bought it.
yep,
And you can just keep reiterating and going, it's back into history. The best time to buy an EV was yonks ago. But no one needs to have a crisis be the excuse to buy an EV these days, even though it makes a lot of sense in a crisis to buy an EV, but it makes sense even without a crisis at all times to buy an EV because of the maintenance, and especially a Tesla, because there's virtually no maintenance. The fuel costs are between nothing to not very much to a quarter of the price of petrol, half the price of petrol if you pay top retail supercharger rates or fast DC charger rates, and all the other reasons for it being non-polluting and blah blah blah. Yeah, it is sort of funny. But I guess never let a crisis go to waste.
oh,
And if it means that that crisis is that last straw that broke that camel's back to say,
yep,
oh, look, let's just jump on the EV bandwagon. Well, bloody go for it.
yeah,
And the great thing is Teslas will not go up in price. You can order it for the same price this month as it was last month, and the price is not going to go up. So, yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah,
that's really good. It and look, it's no different to 100 and something years ago when people held onto their horses and went, no, cars are silly. Well, 10 years later they all got one.
exactly.
So and then again, once they got one, they then ended up with two.
Oh yeah,
So and the same thing will happen with EVs.
yep.
But
Oh yeah, we were a two EV family for a while, but after I got my Tesla, then we soon became a two Tesla family.
yes,
There's no other EVs is good, so we just flick the other one off. So yeah,
and that's the thing too is yes, Tesla's the cheapest Tesla is off the top of my head, let's call it
50.
55,000 on
All
plus
right.
or including on roads, roughly.
Yeah,
Look, that's not cheap, but if you consider it to be a premium sedan, it's actually a bargain because you can't get a premium sedan with for the same value for money. So not everyone can afford a Tesla, but it does represent the probably the best value for money. And that's what Drive magazine declared the Model Y.
yeah,
The best value for money, which is
exactly.
not quite the same thing as the lowest cost, but it really has more meaning if you can afford it.
Yeah,
And
and I
and there
mean,
are
even like a second hand, you know, 2023 Model Y is better than a brand new BYD sort of things.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. and I'm trying to find. I did see an ad on YouTube for. It was the Association for Car Financing Companies,
Okay.
and they had done a promotional ad to encourage the federal government to maintain the fringe benefits tax zero rating for compliant EVs or suitable EVs. Just let's see if I can just bring that up, and it should be.
Labor says it wants more Aussies driving electric.
Sorry,
Is
let me
that
just.
for if
Wait,
you have a business or something
yeah, so let me just play that.
like up to how much sort of stuff?
Second play. Maybe now. Go.
Labor says it wants more Aussies driving electric vehicles.
And Labor says it cares about cost of living pressures on suburban families.
So why scrap a policy that actually delivers both?
The EV tax discount on salary packaging,
Makes driving more affordable for workers like me.
especially those of us with long commutes.
Tell them to keep the EV tax discount on salary packaging.
If it works for workers, it's worth keeping.
Authorised R. Martin, National Automotive Leasing and Salary Packaging Association, Melbourne.
Okay, so what the deal is that the federal government has enacted an initiative whereby if you get a novated lease, so that's a car it's like a car loan sponsored by your employer, whereby notionally it's the car's in your name, but it's leased and all the lease payments and all the payments associated with the car are made via a salary sacrifice. So ordinarily that would be a fringe benefit. Well, sorry, yes, that would be a fringe benefit because you're doing it with pre-tax dollars, and there'd be a fringe benefit component that the employer would have to then account for, or the novated lease company would have to account for, and pay a fringe benefits tax, which is set to the top marginal rate plus Medicare levy, regardless of what your top marginal what your marginal rate actually is. Now, what the government has done is said that we will set that fringe benefits tax rate, rather than being the top marginal rate plus Medicare levy, we set it to zero. So then you can have a novated lease whereby all the lease payments and all the energy costs and insurance and all that sort of stuff is paid for by you in pre-tax dollars, because you're basically taking home less salary, and that lease amount comes out of your headline salary or wages before you get it. They deduct that cost and then they give you the rest, which is then taxed. Now, a similar thing applies if you happen to own that business or own a business, a small business. Your small business can then purchase the EV and effectively pay for everything and not have to submit any fringe benefits tax payments to the ATO. And all that happens is, and you, again, get your accountant to explain this, but all that happens is your small business simply tells the government, so via your most businesses these days have to have a electronic means of submitting your payroll. It's like people use Payroller and MyOb and all that sort of stuff. You have to submit an electronic notification to the ATO of all the payments that have been made to employees and business owners. If it's a salary, they just submit a reportable fringe benefit tax amount, which is the amount of the total cost of the car that year. And that's still taxed at 0 cents per dollar, but it can slightly affect certain rebates you can get from the federal government, such as family tax benefit A and B, and I think it might affect your concessional superannuation limit or discount limit. But it's zero. The actual that you get, and you don't have to worry about logbooks. Again, get confirmation from your accountant, but you don't have to mess around with logbooks. It doesn't matter if you declare the entire use of your car in your business as personal use. It's still defined by the Commission of Taxation as a business purpose, because the business is allowing you to have this car as part of its way of engaging with you. And this also applies with employees as well. If you want to have a perk to an employee, it's all zero rated for fringe benefits tax. And that is one of the great stimuli. Apparently at the time when this policy was enacted, it was thought it was intended to stimulate the purchase of 5,000 EVs. And since it was commenced, this scheme has caused the purchase of an additional well over 100 and something thousand EVs. So it's been very successful, and I dare say perhaps slightly expensive for the government. So it's something that's at threat clearly in this year's upcoming May budget. But it was kind of one of the best things they could do for EVs, because by getting a lot of businesses and novated lease companies to get all these EVs into the ecosystem, they will ultimately, in a few years' time, be churned over into the second-hand EV market. And that's great for ordinary people who can't even afford a salary sacrifice, novated lease or something like that, because they're going to end up with a cheaper second-hand EV on the market.
Oh,
So there you
maybe
go.
a performance Model Y. Ooh.
Oh, you got to be. Oh, now, sorry, and you did ask, Paul, what
Yeah.
were the limits? The limit is that the luxury car tax must at the top. So the car had to be purchased after the 1st of July 1 or 2 years ago. Let's call it a couple of years ago. So it can't be an old second-hand EV that you can then still do this. But certainly, if it was to, it certainly applies to any new car bought from today, as long as when you look at the price details, you see that under the section of luxury car tax, as long as it shows $0 of luxury car tax, then it complies.
Yep.
If there's a single dollar or a single cent of luxury car tax that happened to apply at the time of purchase, the deal's off. So I think you've got to be careful with possibly a Model Y performance with a couple of upgrades.
Yeah,
You just got
that'd
to
be over.
check. I think that might be over if you get black and white interior. Oh, and also if you, for example, purchased
true.
FSD before it was delivered, then that would probably push it over, and that would nullify that scheme.
Oh,
So,
perfect info.
but certainly, for any employee any employer that is willing, and sadly some employers just go, oh look, they just say it's too hard and we're not going to do a novated lease. But if you certainly own your own business, and the great thing too, again, preface this with get financial advice from your accountant, is if you own your own small business, you can have multiple EVs all in your name that you may then allow your children or spouse to use. Again, that's fully permitted. One person can have multiple EVs. Again, the only thing there is all of that reportable fringe benefit amount will be apportioned to that taxpayer, namely you. But again, there's very little practical effect that it has on any individual. Once again, get your own financial advice from your accountant if that's relevant to you or interesting to you. But it may, again, caveat, it may be unwound in May. In fact, it's probably pretty likely. What no one knows is what would be fairest is if rather than deleting the zero rating, which I think would be a bit unfair because that would be a shockwave to the system, would be to disallow any future arrangements. So as long as you had purchased an EV prior to the cutoff date, then it will comply for the life of that EV, which I think would be fair. It would probably be a bit unfair to say, no, even though you bought it or entered this arrangement on the basis of it being favourable 1 or 2 years ago, we're now unwinding that or reversing that. That's kind of unfair because that is kind of retrospectively changing the deal after the deal was made. But I mean, governments are powerful, so they can do whatever they like. But we'll have to see.
Oh,
But anyway, at the moment, it's a great deal. Alrighty. Any other
So,
comments or questions?
so yeah, I've seen the images of the Model YL in New South Wales on the back of a truck.
Yes.
yeah, that's
And
pretty cool.
I'm guessing they're getting ready to go to showrooms, or
You're not going to believe this. As you mentioned that, I just posted it in the chat, that picture. So we must have been looking at it at the same time, man.
Yeah, it's been around, Domo. And yeah, so is that Cameron? I think it was.
Darren.
Oh, it's Darren,
Oh, sorry, Darren. Sorry, the wrong N.
Queenslander.
Sorry
Yes,
to jump in. I
Darren.
just think it's funny. Like, as you mentioned that, I posted it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's cool. They are circulating. Of course, we've got no indication as to when Tesla is going to actually put them up as being able to be ordered. Traditionally, like I said in the news a couple of weeks ago, it has been on a Friday morning, Perth time. So I guess for every Friday morning it doesn't get released, it'll be one Friday morning closer to it being released. Look, maybe they're going to wait until the end of the quarter just to, effectively end of this quarter or end of this month, just to make sure people don't perhaps cancel a delivery that they're about to receive, so that Tesla doesn't have an overhang of, I guess it would be mostly Model Ys at the end of this month.
They look awesome.
Yeah, they're great. In fact, I'll just bring up that image, Damo.
Here's a question for you, Harold. Do you know, because they're based on the all-wheel drive long-range version, do you know if they will have a speed boost available for them?
Probably, Damo, because they are all-wheel drive. So there's no reason to believe they specifically wouldn't. Let's just bring up this image.
Yeah, because
and actually, it's a really good color. It's like it almost looks like a Robotaxi goldish color, but it must be
like a rose gold or something, I think.
I mean, I wonder if that's a new color.
Yeah, it's for China, so I hope we get it.
Well, they
That
definitely. I mean, I don't. That does not look. That looks. It looks like a goldy silver. It's or titanium. It's not titanium because titanium's darker. The old Model X used to be titanium silver, but there's definitely a gold aspect to that.
Yeah.
So the white on the side of the truck's also a little bit tinted as well. So
yeah, so we might need to do a bit of a. I mean, yeah, that's right. If we presume that's white, we'd have to get into Photoshop and do a color correction on the side and see what that ends up being. That could be distorted. Look, maybe they're just. Who knows? There's
a couple more pictures there, but I've lost the post.
Oh, sorry. Did you say you lost the plot? No, you lost the post.
What's the addition to this model?
What?
So say again, Cole.
What's new on this model? I hadn't heard of it. Sorry.
Oh, it's about a foot longer, and it's got 3 rows, so it's a 6-seater. Whereby the interior you have captain's chairs. So you have a gap between the left and the right seat. So what would ordinarily be the fairly uncomfortable middle seat is removed, and that means you've got access from the middle row into the back row.
A battery range is increasing with Teslas now, new Teslas?
Uh,
It's
well, it had increased from the Model Ys. So the launch edition Model Ys had a claimed range of the long range had a claimed range of about, let's call it 560 Ks, something like
Yeah.
that. And now it's 600 Ks. The Model Y L in China, under the CLTC, which is the Chinese range standard, which is actually very optimistic. Uh, the long range normal Model Y has a stated range of 750 kilometers, and the Model Y L has a stated range of 751. So it's effectively the same range.
Yeah.
Now that's meaningless, except that the relativity is the same. So in Australia, the current Model Y long range has a stated claimed range, WLTP range of 600 kilometres. So it's all but certain that the Model Y L will have a claimed range of 600 kilometres, the same. That's not the practical range
No, no.
on a highway, but certainly around town you could achieve that kind of range around town.
My
Because
Model Y L2 2023 was listed at 423 or 433. I've just down 67,000 Ks in 2 years. And it charges up to 400 and say 18 Ks, but the best I can get out of it is 380 Ks
on the open road.
on the open road. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So as soon as you hit chip seal, when you hear that road noise, that's just wasted
You
energy.
can tell.
Yeah, you can tell straight away.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I knew that, and I'm happy with that. I wish I'd love a long range for the amount of long driving I do, but I get away with it now, and with those prices coming down, when I do have to charge it, it's so affordable, and it only takes me, I think it was 10 minutes and 12 minutes at Williams and Koji. Everybody stops. I grab a coffee, big deal, you know.
well, the point is, if you go to the Williams woolshed, I guarantee you that if you plug into a supercharger and you order a Reuben sandwich and a coffee,
I got to run out.
you will have to run out midway between eating it to unplug the supercharger and move your
No,
car.
sometimes now it lets me slow the charging down on my phone.
a supercharger.
No, it doesn't do
Nah.
supercharger.
Oh, sorry,
No, it
not,
doesn't.
sorry, not the supercharger. I did it the other day on a Explorer, and I went, I'm not going
yes.
to get back to it in
Yeah.
time, and it let me change it down. I went, wow, how good's that?
Yeah, for AC.
Yes, I dare say that's a polite way of a human being naughty,
Yep.
because it doesn't look like you're hogging the charger, even though you are. But
Yeah, but I was going to be 5 minutes late, and I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to have my car sitting there that's charged on there. So I went,
yeah, no, exactly.
and
But
I always use PlugShare, and surprisingly, last month I got 7th in Australia in using PlugShare. I can't get near you, Harold, but I got 7th in Australia using PlugShare.
the thing is, I'd never use PlugShare unless I'm on a lap. So
Yeah,
I
no,
kind of had
it's-
like a 11-day spurt of lots of, and then kind of ghosting. And unless I'm on like a little mini trip or something, and the thing is, I always use PlugShare if I've got new information to present or if I'm somewhere remote. So I religiously PlugShare on anything remote. So I can say, yes, it worked, or no, it didn't, or yes, it worked, but then it stopped working, or I had crappy power or something. So that it gives people in the remote regions a bit of assurance as to what's going on. And
no,
it's one of my laments that, there are lots of locations where I wish people would just confirm it's still broken. But obviously people are human. They'll go, I know it's broken. I will just bypass it and not post. But around town, I don't PlugShare everything, because, we don't need, you should PlugShare what you're comfortable with. Please don't feel obliged to PlugShare absolutely everything, like especially around town. But
No.
certainly if a status of a location has changed, so the previous post said
Only
it
'cause
worked.
I'm doing a lot of country running at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's totally cool. But For anyone else, please don't get annoyed at some people that don't plug share, because let's face it, none of us signed contracts when we bought our cars that said thou shalt always plug share.
It's just a great searcher, as you know, to find
It
all
is,
charts.
yes, yeah. And like I said, I religiously do it absolutely every location in the bush because it's super important to try and especially I'm looking for someone to be at Mundrabilla to see if there's a sign that says do not use the DC charger, because I really want that up in lights. I'm actually more interested in the locations that don't work properly
I
than
might
the
have
ones that
somebody
do.
coming. I might have somebody coming past there in a few days. I'll check it.
Yeah, cool. That'd be good.
They're not electric, but they're towing a caravan.
No.
So
Yeah, if they can have a look, because there were posts on PlugShare before that said there was a sign that says do not use the DC charger. I just want a happy snap, because a photo is worth 1,000 words.
if I can, I'll let you know.
Yeah, cool. No, that'd be awesome. That'd be
Just
awesome.
one other quick one. As I said, I'm 25 months now, 67,000 Ks. When should I get my first service?
You don't?
Well, the technical answer is there is no first service. Look, there are a couple of things you can do if you like to do. Tesla recommend. I did have.
I can tell you. Is
And
because
believe
it's
it
a
or
Model
not,
Y.
believe it
It's
or
a
not,
model.
yeah, believe it or not, I'm still on the same tyres.
Yeah. And look,
Yeah.
you can rotate your tires. I usually
I do,
rotate them when I drive. They rotate a lot.
I get them rotated every 15 to 20,000 Ks.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Okay.
you're a better man than me, Cole. So
Well, it only cost me $49 to get them rotated.
so that's one thing you can do. You can also. Oh no, you don't do that anymore. I was going to say check the. I forget what it's called. You check the battery acid, but you don't have to do that anymore.
No,
Oh
you
no,
don't do
sorry,
that.
sorry, no, sorry, wrong. I was thinking wrong thing. You can check the moisture in your brake fluid. Tesla will do this. A lot of other mechanics will do it. It costs almost nothing, like $15 or something.
Okay.
They just put a probe in to make sure there's no moisture. Look, to be honest, I've never done it ever in 500,000 Ks of EV driving, or 1.5. Well, 550,000 probably by now Ks of EV driving. I've never had any of my cars checked. But that is one thing that Tesla does mention is you can get a brake fluid moisture check. They just put like a little probe in and just check it. You can also, I think they recommend every couple of years, but you can kind of adjust that to use depending. Change your cabin air filter.
Yeah,
You can
I
do it
that.
yourself. They cost $25 or less.
Yeah.
And you can actually do it yourself, or you can get Tesla to do it for
Yeah.
$60. It's
117.
Okay, a bit more. Okay,
Come out.
yep.
But they can come out. Yeah, Ben will come out.
Ben will come out. Yep, Ben's
Have
a
a
good
chat.
guy. Have a chat. But you can actually do it yourself. It kind of looks hard, but once you sort of get the hang of it, and you
pain
can
in the
look
arse.
up a multitude of YouTube videos.
Thanks,
you
Paul.
know.
I'll listen to you.
Yeah. I've done it myself twice, and the second time I went, "Why the hell did I?" It's like, when women have a baby and then they forget, then they have another one. It's like, why the hell?
Isn't
Why the
that
hell did I
bad?
do this? So it's the same sort of thing. I was up there, upside down, and all that stuff, and I'm going, I'm retired. I don't even have time for this shit. I'm calling Ben.
See, Paul, you're not a true retiree. See, a proper
No.
retiree would go,
Save,
got to
save the
clutch
fuck.
my pearls. I've got
Yeah.
to do it myself.
And how much warning do you get on the 12-volt battery?
Oh, now,
A couple
Cole,
of days
so how
if
old's your
it's gonna
car?
die.
How old is?
25 months.
No, you've probably got a LFP battery. It's a Model Y, isn't it?
No, it's Model Y,
Yeah,
so-
2023 Y.
He'll
What
have
month?
Lithium ion, wouldn't it?
December 2023. I bought it in January, but it was the December release in 2023, I think.
So yeah, it should have the lithium battery in it.
He's got
Oh.
the lithium.
The 22s
It's easy to
have got
tell.
the lithium.
It's easy to tell, Cole. Do you know what voltage comes out of your 12-volt cigarette lighter?
No.
Think-
Yeah. If it's
Does it?
15 volts,
Yeah.
it's lithium.
Under
The other
under
way to
your
tell this, look on your software,
yes.
go into your menu, look under software,
Yep.
and I think you click on the information bit and it should say that it's got LFP 12-volt
Yep.
battery.
Additional vehicle information
Yes.
and your batteries under there.
You'll have to do it
Like
in your car, Cole. You can't do it
Oh,
on your
sorry.
app.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that'll tell
Right.
you it's very likely that you've got LFP, which just means that will last the lifetime of the car.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Um,
easy.
those
Right.
the upgrade about a few weeks ago of you leaving your phone in the charger is brilliant. It gives you a warning if you.
Oh yes, yes.
It is brilliant.
Just as you close the door, you get the bit,
Yeah.
and it's like, whoa.
Because my
Yep.
partner used to do it all the time. I have to run back and get her phone. Now, even though it's not linked to it gives us the warning. It is brilliant.
Yep. Yep.
Something simple.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll just
James.
pass over to James just in case
Yeah.
you've got something to say, James. I mean, I know you've got something to say, but maybe something to this discussion. Go, James.
What about the radiator clean? Is that worth doing for somebody that travels country a lot?
Okay, so one thing I recommend, it's so frustrating. And it's funny because I did hear someone, a mate of mine, have a discussion with someone at Tesla Service, and this gentleman at Tesla Service was puzzled or couldn't understand why you would put a radiator protector on the front of your car. And my reply to my mate was, oh man, this guy should take his Tesla for a drive in the bush because
Yeah.
I can't dig it out. I can't be bothered digging it out right now. It'd take too long, but I'm going to call it a great video of the front of my classic Model Y radiator just being full, caked with an inch of leaves and debris through its whole thing, and I'm just like, I pulled everything apart. It was quite difficult to do, and I was shocked at how many leaves was stuffed into this thing, because basically the car's Model 3 is the same. It acts as like a filter feeder because the radiator it's not quite horizontal, but it's on a very slight upwards angle, and everything that goes into the intake slot is trapped between that intake slot and the radiator. There's nowhere else for it to go. It can't fall or go anywhere else. So, in my opinion, look, I think effectively every car, because even if you drive around Perth, you can go to Applecross or Mill Point Road in South Perth where you got those, they look like maple trees. I'm sure they're not, but they've got the huge, no, they've got the huge like maple leaf shaped leaves and maple tree shaped leaves. And in autumn,
Plane tree.
or maybe they are. Sorry, yep, maybe. And if you're unlucky to have them enter horizontally, not obviously broadside, but end on, it'll get sucked in and it'll stay there forever. Whatever enters will not leave, and that's every single insect, locust, whatever. It will just get, if it's not filtered by that coarse, just those sort of louver things, it'll go in there and it will never leave. And it's just a matter of time. Darren.
Yeah, with that, do you have to remove the frunk?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had a couple of the first time I did it, so I got a price from Tesla because I returned from a lap and I'd noticed that towards the end my DC charging just fell off a cliff. Like it would just plummet. The rate would plummet, and it was basically going into thermal overload because it couldn't cool down the battery. And then the clincher was when I was at home in my garage, just sitting in the car, the fans were going full tilt just to keep the aircon running. And it's like, this thing must be really blocked. And like I said, I then got a price from Tesla, which was a very reasonable $600. And I thought, oh, yeah, no, I'm going to try and do that myself and save those $600 because I think my car was only on about 2 or 3 laps by then, or maybe the fourth one. And I thought, I just don't want to spend $600 just to clean it out. So I looked at the Tesla procedure, and I had to jack the car up and pull all the bottom parts of the trims that the valance, I think they call it, that covers all the suspension items, and pull the frunk out and undo clips, and it was really difficult to properly unclip everything. But I've since found out there's a way of partially unclipping it and kind of getting a hose, and you can sort of do a fairly good job that way. I've heard other people, I think Rob Dean did it, whereby he put he got like a bit of conduit or sort of skinny hose, and he hooked it onto his vacuum cleaner and kind of stuck it in the louvers and kind of vacuumed it out that way. There's a few ways of kind of doing it, but you've got to be super careful not to touch the fins, because the fins are super duper thin and you'll just fold them over and that makes it worse. But the best thing is to prevent the contamination in the first place, and that's just go to Tesseries, Teslas, Ansho, whoever, Alibaba, and you can get any number of these louvers. They are usually in 2 pieces, and there's a different one for the Model 3 and the Model Y. They cost less than $100, $50, $60, I don't know, not that much. One pro tip is, do not bother taking off the sticky back, taking off the backing for the double-sided tape. Don't tape them in there, because what you should do, and I've mentioned this before, is don't make the mistake I've done, which is while you're charging somewhere, get a brush, and I have got one of them handy actually, and brush it while you're charging, because you just convert all your insects and leaves into flour, and that then just gets inhaled, flour like as in wheat flour, and that just gets inhaled by your radiator and gums it up anyway. So the best thing is don't remove the sticky backs, just clip them in, because after all, when you're doing 100 k's an hour, you've got a lot of wind pushing against it. And then bring a pair of pliers if you're on a road trip, and then you can just pull them out while you're charging and clean them away from the car. And look, in my honest opinion, I think Tesla should have these as standard accessories that you can purchase. They really should, and I humbly suggest that any Tesla service people that are puzzled by why this is a thing just needs to drive a Tesla for 100,000 Ks with lots of leaves around and insects, and they'll find out why it's important. So I recommend that to any Tesla owner, is get one of these mesh protectors. And yes, I know some people will say, oh yeah, but that will from day one add a little bit of air resistance. And it's like, yep, I'll take that penalty on day one, because at least that'll be the worst it'll ever be, provided you clean it every now and then.
Yeah, right, because this afternoon when I was washing the car and sort of had the pressure cleaner facing down low there, and I could actually see a couple of leaves and that up inside the grill.
Yep.
Below the number plate. So.
Yeah, there is a fan. So the way it works is you've got the intake, there's then a void, and your radiator slopes upwards towards the back of the car. Towards the back end of the car, it's sloping upwards. Beneath that, there is a fan, electric fan, and there's obviously an exit for that air. So a trick you can try and do, and please don't use a pressure wash, because that will bend over the fins, but you could try, if you had an air compressor, that would be handy, and you can try and backwards blow it sort of out towards the front of the car again, or you could get a hose on just a normal stream and do a similar thing if they're already in there. Or again, you could get an air compressor and kind of have it point it into the intake at one side and try and get the air to swirl around, and then maybe get a vacuum with an attachment. Again, be careful not to touch the fins, and try and suck out some of that stuff. But again, the best thing is to try and stop it in the first place. And like I said, I would recommend that to everyone that buys a Tesla, unless you're only doing, 5,000 kilometers a year or something, then it probably doesn't matter. But I mean, in hindsight, I remember following behind hay trucks carrying bales of hay, and you just get this steady stream of bits of straw coming off. And of course, every bit of straw that is in front of your intake is going to get in and stay there forever. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? We might. Oh,
Oh, can't do it yet. For the
yes,
question.
David.
Hi, it's David here. I've got a 21 Model 3. I live up in the hills. I'm really not overly impressed with the sort of what was it, lane guidance, cruise control. But I was just wondering, is the FSD worth trying?
Okay, so you've got an older Model 3 which has got hardware 3. So do not subscribe to what is called FSD, because your car, all it will do is do a slightly, it'll do exactly the same as autopilot, but with a couple of extra subtle features. But it will do all the same things that you're used to autopilot doing. And what I mean by that is doing incorrectly. So you can get certain exit lane wobbles. If you're on a multi-lane road and you're coming to an intersection where there are these dotted guidelines for cars coming through a T intersection or something, it'll sometimes incorrectly follow those. So all those foibles will not be improved by subscribing to FSD. Now, there is no doubt that Tesla is working hard to bringing the features of FSD that are currently enjoyed by people that are using it on hardware 4 cars in Australia. There is zero doubt whatsoever that Tesla is trying or working very hard to bringing, let's call it proper FSD, to hardware 3 cars. Now, when that happens, David, that will be the time to give it a go. And it will be chalk and cheese. If you want to get some evidence of that, I highly recommend that you take one of the current new cars at Tesla in Aussie Park or at O'Connor for a test drive with FSD. And then that will show you just how different it is. But again, please don't subscribe to a month's worth of FSD on your hardware 3 Model 3, because you will be bitterly disappointed.
I rented a car in Europe. It wasn't a Tesla. It was a Cupra, and that was street ahead in terms of its operability, its usefulness.
My only question there is, in Europe, actually it's funny because in Europe, anyway, it's whatever you saw in Europe would perform better in Australia, because Europe has ridiculous regulations that say things like for example, I was in an autobahn in coming out of Austria on the way to a rural part, and it was a fairly tight bend, and I was in a Tesla on autopilot and I had a little notification, and what was happening was the car was slowly just leaving the lane because it wasn't cornering hard enough. And the reason why it wasn't cornering hard enough is because there is a dumb and stupid European Union regulation that says that lane keeping software / hardware is not permitted to exert more than a certain number of degrees of turning effort per 50 meters of forward movement. So because it was at autobahn speeds, the car was literally forbidden from keeping in its lane by these stupid rules. So whatever you saw in the Cupra would have been better in Australia. And yes, autopilot does have its foibles, but it's also dependent. If you're on a freeway or a major highway, autopilot's steady as a rock. There are some places around town and certain roads where it doesn't perform as well. Sadly, if you get technical with the fine print when you engage autopilot for the first time, it'll say all these disclaimers such as it's not suitable for side streets and blah, 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 but we all use it that way. Suffice to say, when FSD comes, true FSD comes to Hardware 3 cars, it will be chalk and cheese. Absolutely chalk and cheese. And there is no doubt that Tesla Australia is working very hard to getting true FSD supervised into the Hardware 3 cars. No doubt. So I highly recommend you give it a go.
Money at this stage. Yep.
Sorry?
Thanks for that. I say save the money at this point.
Yeah, look, I've said this many, many times. I'm going to probably say it another million times. Humans are irrational creatures. You personally would most likely, if you're behaving like a human, feel better in having sunk that $10,000 cost and writing it off forever and enjoying it for the rest of the life of the car, rather than paying $149 a month. That's just one of these human things. We're great at writing off sunk costs. We're not great at paying subscriptions. However, if you run the numbers in any meaningful sense, you're almost always better off renting it because cars don't last forever. And in any case, that decision will be made for you. If you hadn't already purchased FSD by the end of this month, you won't be able to purchase it anyway. And the thing too is we don't know, and it's not at all clear that Tesla will continue to sporadically allow for FSD transfers from an existing car to get you into a new car. It's not at all clear that will continue to happen, in which case you could kind of, in a sense, doom yourself to hanging on to what would become an older and older car just to keep FSD, because it has no real value as a second-hand car, and because you don't want to buy a new car and then have to pay $149 a month. James?
With this discussion, does the test drives allow you to trial the FSD? Just so you get a feel?
Sure does. Yes, absolutely. Yep. Try and pick your days. I think the weekends are not a great day to pick because Tesla's just flat out with a lot of people that have to work during the week. But if there's an opportunity to do it, I wouldn't call it after hours, but let's call it during the week, then you can get your full half-hour unfettered use. And it works really well.
And borrow the Model Y performance.
That'll just make you all conflicted, Paul. Well, there's no conflict.
No
it's
conflict.
Just take my money.
Take my money.
just take my money. I only live once. And although he who dies if all the toys wins, well, I guess that's right. You want to have the best toy when you die. So, yes.
And if you get the Model Y performance, you're less likely to want to use self-driving because it's so much fun to drive.
I did use it just to give the FSD a go, and then I was like, "Yep, no worries," and turned it off. Give give it a bit of welly, and then I was like, oh, okay, this is quick. So.
Yep.
Yeah, it certainly is a great car. And I think the deliveries have gone, I think they're quoting April to June for the Performance Model Ys. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments? Ooh, we're fairly quiet tonight. Which means I could get an early night. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Paul, do you got anything? Share price wise,
yeah, we're still 400.
Tesla's in this kind of deflationary sort of slight sort of deflationary period before there are any catalysts. You know, Elon Musk continues to make pretty big announcements. One of them was that previously there was a $16 or $17 billion contract with Samsung to produce AI6 chips, which, bearing in mind the current cars, the brand new cars at the moment have AI4. Elon Musk has all but confirmed Tesla has all but finished the AI5 design. And then after that, there is AI6. Now, Tesla committed 15, 16, whatever it is, billion, this is all US dollars, to Samsung to have 14,000 wafers a month. It was 15 or 16.
It was
something of that order. I think it was 14. Yeah. And now they want 40.
Yeah.
So the rumor is Tesla is saying to Samsung, actually, we were underestimating at, let's call it 14,000 wafers. Now, one thing none of us know is how many dies per wafer. So a wafer is basically a round circle. So you've got your big long crystal. They slice it into ridiculously thin slices. I think the wafers these days are between 30 and 40 centimeters in diameter, so they're really large. What no one knows is what the yield is on a wafer. Like let's call it, if it's 10 chips per wafer, because the chips are getting bigger too. If it's 10 per wafer, then their answer is, if it's 40,000 wafers, that's 400,000 chips per month.
Yeah. I think Larry Goldberg had said a minimum of 4 million.
He said 100 or 200, and I'm going, oh, Larry, I think that's a lot of chips. Look, if they were small processors, that'd be fine.
But
I think with
go with your number, even that.
If you go for 10, if you just say 10, that's 400,000 chips per month.
Devices each month. How crazy is that?
Yeah. So that's a bit of positive news. Now, of course, this means nothing to the share price today. This is all future stuff. This is coming. In fact, so as far as AI5 is concerned, I think that the latest theory is that it's testing production or test production at the end of this year, and then going in towards the end of next year as volume production for AI5. And then Elon Musk had sort of said, well, he wants the next iteration to be roughly 9 to 12 months after that. But we're really looking into 2028 for AI6. But again, the good thing is Tesla they never stand still and then wait for the competition to catch up. They're always moving ahead. So, and look, we still are waiting for, some catalysts, and it's all spoken of as being April. That may or may not be the case. There was a bit of news as far as Zoox applied to the NHTSA for a 2,500 vehicle exemption on their robo-taxi or driverless vehicle. Notably, that no one has found, and the community is large, the Tesla community, no one has found any application made by Tesla for a similar exemption. And a theory that is going around is that Tesla has found a way to weave through the regulations to have the robo-taxi without steering wheel, pedals. Possibly it may have to have a rear view mirror that goes nowhere or sees nothing because the regulation says you've got to have one. Not quite sure about the side mirrors, but it seems like, well, put it this way, Zoox applied for this thing more than 6 months ago, and it's only just gone into public submission phase. So it would be a very bad strategic error on behalf of Tesla if suddenly it decided it had to apply for one, because it would take 6 months. And, they're going to spool up their factory. Start of production of Robotaxi has been stated many times by Elon Musk to be on time and to commence in April. So presumably Tesla knows something that no one else does, and that's probably the case because they have the resources to know things we don't.
Exactly, because they had today, in America, they had a day, for Nishta and all that, and Sean Duffy, head of transport, was talking about, we need to move to the future and blah, 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 and all that stuff, like no steering wheel, no pedals, no side mirrors, and blah, blah, blah.
And notice how Tesla weren't part of the discussion panel. The Robotaxi was there.
Yeah.
So people got to sit inside and take video and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Cybercab.
I know.
Which is a Robotaxi.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cybercab.
No, you were correct. Yeah.
I was correct, but not fully correct.
Yeah.
Or not. I didn't tell the whole story, or the important bit, which was it was the Cybercab. But it was there. So Tesla was there. They just weren't. Well, on that day, they weren't participating in the discussion. Now, maybe that's because they knew they didn't need to because they'd found another way.
Elon,
who knows?
Elon goes, "Hey, Trumpy.
Hey, Trumpy, my best frenemy.
Hook me up, man." Yeah,
that's right. So,
yeah, because I saw Stern Basher was talking about that as long as the vehicles were road legal, like road safe and stuff like that, then that could be a way of getting around the whole exemption thing, because then you don't need an exemption. You just go, it passes all the crash safing.
But the only wrinkle there is, why then would Zoox basically apply for the same thing? On the presumption that it's got no steering wheel, it's got no pedals.
They have fought, they face each other. So I don't know how they're crashing.
Sorry. Okay.
Because they can only go at like 40 km an hour.
Yes.
Like
okay,
that.
so that's different. Yes.
That's
so
a different vehicle.
Have an airbag or...
Yeah. Where this is, it's going to be designed to go on the freeways and stuff like that. It's a car anyway. So.
Although, what's funny is the safest position to be in a frontal crash is facing backwards.
Yes.
In fact, if you look at a lot of the cabin crew, if you look at cabin crew seats, they are very often facing backwards.
Exactly.
Because on a frontal collision, they're most likely to survive. But anywho.
If you're going down, push them out of the way and nick their seat.
No, just get the secret parachute, Paul.
Yeah.
But so there's certainly catalysts for Tesla. So and it really doesn't matter on an S curve when it starts. It doesn't look. It'd be nice if it was April, but if it's May, June, July, August, if it's the end of this year, it really doesn't matter because by the end. Well, yeah, that'd be nice. And I mean, look, Tesla, I think last night broke about even-ish or slightly up, whereas most of the rest of the American markets were down. So, because of the current volatility, because of, what. But there are a lot of catalysts. Things are looking up. But it's okay for us to sort of sit there going, oh, can you hurry up? But, it'll come. And by the end of the decade, none of us are going to care because as you look back in the past, it'll all look really great, one way or another.
I just sort of see the market. It has to break because it'll just be one thing after another. Like you got the Tesla Semi ramping up.
Yes.
Cybercab, Optimus,
Oh,
Robo,
that was the other catalyst.
Roadster.
So yeah, I think it's IG Metall, the German car union.
Yes, how good was
So
that?
they had a works council. So
Yep, vote.
Tesla has to have a employee voted works council, which is like a employee council that negotiates with Tesla or at least brings any grievances or whatever. And IG Metall were intent on increasing their percentage of representation. This is Germany's car workers union. And notably, I think Tesla is probably the only major car manufacturer in Germany that's not unionized. And their representation went down from, I think it was 36 or
40%.
39% down to 31%. So they went backwards. And Elon Musk had actually tacitly warned Tesla's employees in Germany that it was up to them to decide whether the Gigafactory in Grunheide, sorry, I'll get my German
Better
right.
than what I say.
Grunheide, whether it would be the same as it is today or expand. And to your point, Paul, he said that it would expand to produce cybercabs and the Tesla Semi and Optimus.
And batteries.
And
well.
batteries, of course. Yes, yeah, that's right.
That's
So,
$1 billion business. Eh?
but he sort of said, but if inverted commas Germany weren't in favour of that, then that wouldn't happen. And I guess you could say Germany meant the German workers.
I think he said outside forces or something like that.
Yes.
But didn't say union, which would have got him in the shit. So it was very...
That's right. Yeah.
Skirted it. But it was very interesting that, he talks to the head of the German factory just before the vote, this whole thing. So you just go,
indeed.
I wonder what that was about. Oh, that's what it was about. So, yeah.
Oh, and some
out.
news, and in some news that, because you might think, oh, well, why was there only one news item? There's lots of things that happened in Tesla's world, but, one of them notably was apparently, and it means nothing to us whatsoever, but for those American cousins that were going to order certain versions of models S and X, a couple of color combinations are no longer available. And that's obviously because possibly they've already built those cars and they're just not, or they're not going to build any to that color, because every time you change a color, you've got to faff around and clean things and whatever. So that's because by the end of next quarter, so by the end of June, the Model S and X lines will be closed and they will be replaced by a 1 million capacity Optimus robot line or lines to produce at full rate 1 million Optimus robots per annum, or Optimi per annum.
Which is, that's going to make way more money
than that
stuff.
And that's great. It really is. And that'll be Tesla money. The SpaceX XAI, so it's Space Triple X AI company agglomeration, they'll be doing the virtual Optimi, which is a machine or a computer program or a system that basically will simulate a human being typing on a computer or using a computer. So that'll be not Tesla's purview, but the Optimus robots will be. And that's going to make everything else a rounding error compared to robo-taxis and cybercabs and all that sort of stuff.
And seeing all the cybercabs being produced at the moment, getting tested and broken or crashed.
And quite a few. Quite a few were being shipped out on enclosed car transport trucks that actually have steering wheels and pedals, and the presumption there was that they're going out for some various testing. out and about. Oh, and also there was a couple of images of apparently the first time that cybercabs, so that's the gold, 2 passengers, 2 seat, no controls, cybercabs, were seen with a roof rack and the LiDAR attachments and all that sort of stuff to do ground truthing out and about. So they're actually 2, one behind the other. And that's the first time that's been seen in the wild. So clearly things are happening. And look, there's also no doubt, as much as, you know, Tesla Australia want to have, and elsewhere want to have Hardware 3 cars have FSD supervised, there's no doubt that Tesla wants to crack the Austin cybercab market and get these things spooled up. So they're obviously still tweaking with version 14.x, whatever it is, to get it fully proven for Austin. And then I think it was in the Q4 earnings call that was a few weeks ago that Elon Musk, or actually it was Tesla, said they would be in, was it 6 other cities by the end of this financial year? 6 extra ones, roughly.
Yeah,
I think
7.
6 or 7
extra ones. Yeah.
By the end of June.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got to crack Austin first, and then move forwards. Damo, you got your hand up.
Yeah, Harold, just a question about that Cortex 2. What is the actual purpose of that building? That's got some serious power and cooling going into it. There's more power and cooling going into that small building than what there is going into the main factory. And
Yes,
it's not
it'll
even
be
a quarter of the size of it.
it'll be 500 megawatts going into it, and it's going to have, I'm pretty no, actually, I might take that back. I thought it might have had more megapacks than anything else, but that might be XAI's thing. I'm going to second guess myself there because that's going to be bigger. But 500 megawatts of power. The clever thing is, if for anyone who's interested, go and look at Joe Tetmeyer's videos. He does one roughly every week, and he did one on the 9th of March, so quite recently. And for example, there's a big, let's just imagine a rectangular building, and they've got 2 huge assemblies of cooling fans, and there are 6 fans on each assembly, and they're basically constructing the first one, which will have 6 fans. But what Tesla's actually doing is, when you look at his footage, there are a whole lot of semi-trailer based cooling towers or cooling assemblies, and there's like dozens of them. There's probably at least 20 or maybe 30 of these things, and this is actually temporary cooling, because what Elon Musk announced in the last 36 hours was that what they're going to do is they're going to build half of Cortex 2 first and cool it with temporary cooling, and they've already got roughly half the megapacks and transformers and all that installed to do the buffering, because these large training clusters, they can fluctuate between full power and much less than half power in less than a second, and normal grids just cannot cope with that sort of thing. So you've got to buffer it with batteries and inverters, which is what the megapacks are for. So what they're going to do is they're already mounting all the racks and all the GPUs and all that sort of stuff right now before they've finished the building and finished most of the works. They're going to have half of it running before the building is finished and cool it using temporary cooling, and then progressively finish the cooling systems and have it fully online. And Elon Musk said that would be next month. It would be online at half capacity.
Crazy.
And then they would build the second half. And once it was finished, it would draw a total of 500 megawatts. And if you compare that with what Tesla's using at the moment for all the FSD training and all that sort of stuff, Cortex 1, which is on an extension of the main Gigafactory in Austin, I think that's only drawing 160 megawatts. So Cortex 2 will be three and a bit times that size on the same block, on the same site.
Unbelievable.
So, and that will be mainly used for Optimus. So that's that'll be used for Optimus training. Because Elon Musk also said that he intends to have to build an Optimus Academy, and it will have at least 10,000 Optimi in it, doing self-play and learning how to do things. 10,000 in one building, purely to train themselves and practice.
That's amazing.
So there's some pretty exciting stuff around the corner. Like Kathy Wood often says, with Tesla, it's always slowly, 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 and then all at once. And that's just what happens.
Oh, I can't wait to see Optimus.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you thought that was big, with the million Optimi line in Fremont, California, at the Gigafactory in Austin, Tesla is planning a factory sufficient to produce 10 million Optimi per year in, say, a couple of years' time. So
more than the price of a car. More than the price of a car.
Yeah.
When they first come out.
Yeah.
This is just going to be making.
And for anyone that can't imagine what you could possibly do with these things, I often go through a construction site and I see people with the lollipops, the stop and slow. I mean, if that wasn't the simplest thing for a bipedal robot to do.
Oh, that's so hard job.
Like,
come on.
You know, and it could be done with absolute precision.
They're getting $55 an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And if Optimus got, like, what would a builder or a company or a traffic management company pay for a robot or rent a robot for a year to do that job, when you could displace $55 per hour, you know?
They would pay almost the same, because then they don't have to do all the benefits and all that.
And have all the risks, and have the HR risks, and
and you can
the
run
sick
them 24/7.
pay, the stress leave, the everything. There are so many such basic jobs, and I'm sad to say, you know, in places like McDonald's and Hungry Jack's, which I've never worked, but many people have when they were kids, and they got their first real pocket money, I guess, or earned money.
Yeah.
But all of that sort of process work, it's just something like Optimus would just go like that. It's just too easy. It's just too easy.
Night fill at Coles and Woolworths and things like that.
Oh, come on, Paul! You're showing your age.
Warehouse.
That there was a bygone era when night fill meant night fill, and that us shoppers would come to a fully replenished shop during the day and be unfettered with night fillers. There are no night fillers, Paul. Come on, that's
okay.
I did cocky cutting, getting down the augers in Ongar up and from, driving out from Albany and standing in the augers at 45 degrees, shoveling the wheat towards the auger. That was my pocket money.
And you've got all your limbs and stuff still, so that's good. You're a diligent one. But yeah, so seriously, the scope of an Optimus robot to do menial physical tasks, and even the simple ones, there are hundreds of millions of those tasks that are dead simple. And that's ignoring being the best neurosurgeons and surgeons of any kind, which will come later. But rest assured that will come, and that will have a huge disruptive influence on healthcare,
Yeah, exactly.
and a welcome one at that. You know,
I'm definitely going to have two. One to do gardening and the other stuff, and you know, the other one's an all-rounder. You know, the doctor, the chauffeur, the one to listen to the wife. You know, so
yes, well, it's going to be
hopefully she
interesting
doesn't watch
times.
this one.
It's going to be very interesting, and Tesla is at the forefront, and Elon Musk. I think what does he say? He says that the only thing that's limiting or a limitation is the laws of physics, and everything else is just a suggestion. So, as long as it can be done within the laws of physics, that's what he always approaches as his limiting factor.
What
And
about the simple Apple CarPlay? Will that ever come to Tesla?
Yeah, that's coming.
yeah,
It was a fuck up with Apple, so it's got put
oh
off
yeah,
until
that's right.
they
Yeah,
sort out Robotaxi.
Oh,
So probably by June we'll
oh,
probably
great.
have it, and I wouldn't even bother using it because the Tesla stuff. And you've
Yeah.
got the Apple Music and pods and
Yeah.
podcasts and all that on your car already.
I think a lot of people would just be happy if Tesla just put Waze as an app
Yeah,
on the car.
but they know where all the Novas are, the cops.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, but the navigation, I still find the navigation, like if I'm going from Mandurah now, if I'm going to Albany, it takes me down through dwelling up, shortcut, straight into Williams, come out where the BP is at Williams. But it gives me throughout the journey, giving me the options of better this way by percentage of battery, better this way time wise. It plays with it. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
yeah,
it
it
is
is
really
true.
good.
There are some extra functions that you can get. Tesla is uniquely has a unique characteristic that it uses Google.
Sorry, Harold, that's just the normal navigation now in Tesla. I wouldn't play. I wouldn't want anything else than that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Oh, okay. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, one of the limitations with Tesla is while it uses Google for the aerial photo or map
Yeah.
representation, it uses TomTom to do the navigation using OpenStreetMap data. And again, this data is not downloaded dynamically over the internet. It's an onboard database that is updated roughly annually, and we are roughly due for an update. So that's why some people get frustrated where you go down the Bunbury
I know. As I
bypass.
said, I turned mine off now.
Yeah.
I,
So
I just ignored it. I was driving my auntie. She's like 81. On the Bustleton trip. And yeah, it just was going, oh, turn off. And she's like, are you going to turn off? And I said,
no.
no, just ignore that. I said, it'll in 20 Ks or whatever it is, we'll
It'll
be
be
right.
okay.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
I do know where we're going. I just like to know what battery percentage I'll have.
Yeah, so if you use a smartphone, of course, smartphones use up-to-date mapping. Now, it can still be incorrect because there could be an error, but it's less likely to be incorrect because its data is, maybe weeks old or something like that. Whereas in Tesla, the data can be as much as a year old, and that can be annoying. So there's one little use case for a Apple CarPlay or a Android, whatever it's called, thingy.
Planning my trips, I still use, if I'm not in my car, if I'm planning a trip, Margaret River or wherever, Albany, I still go in and just do a hypothetical in the ABRP, and it gives me a really good guide.
Yeah, yep. Yeah.
It'll be a few percentage out, but it's a percentage your way, and I find that it's a safe way.
Yeah, so what you're referring to there is a better route planner. And that, absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing too is, if you're going to the southwest, there's no issue because, there's enough superchargers actually. The other week I went down to Margaret River, left my place at, I think I cranked it up to about 85%, or I got to 85% by the time I left. Got to Margaret River non-stop, no worries, at all. That's in the long range Model Y. But you've got charging all the way along. You've got Eaton, you've
And you got
got
the four new,
Bustleton.
you got the four new ones in Dunsborough now. The WeVolt.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes, yep. Yeah, I went past Dunsborough, didn't use it. Got a nice ice cream there, but
And I had a bonus staying at Club Wyndham. They got a free Tesla charger there.
Exactly.
So nights I went, oh, how good is this?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Cool. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Is there a supercharger in Dunsborough now?
No. It was a
not yet.
WeVolt. It's a different or whatever. It's not
About
WeVolt.
100
It's something
that.
else.
About
Copy.
100 kW.
No, so the only superchargers that are known is most northerly is Lanceland, then you've got Karrinyup. You will have Osborne Park in the next few weeks. Karrinyup, Kings Park, Coogee, then you got Williams, Kojonup, Albany. Albany's the cheapest 24/7 charger. You've got your Eaton, Bustleton, Margaret River. Oh, sorry, and Margaret River. That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, you can easily on a long range car get, or even on a standard range, fully charged. You can get from Perth to Margaret River non-stop. If you want to.
Yeah, I can't. No, from Mindari to Margaret River, I can't.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. But you just stop.
I was going to say,
I
got to
think Mindari's in the city, but it's not.
No, it's definitely not. But
just go
not
by
many
bladder
bladders.
range.
But exactly, not many bladders of a certain age can make it all the way. So you just stop off at Eaton. By the time Eaton's good because if you plug in, by the time you walk to where the toilets are and walk back, the job's done. Well and truly. So, and the same applies if you're going to Albany. You can just stop off on the way down at Kojonup, and on the way up at Williams, and.
I'm surprised they've still only got 3 chargers at Williams for the amount of traffic that goes through there.
They do have an option for another at least 3, although to be honest, it's a pretty bad site. I mean, it's in tourist season, it's just chockers, with caravans and all sorts of catastrophe.
Although I haven't, in 2 years, most has ever been, it's never been full when I've been there, and the beauty of the navigation tells you how many's there, which is brilliant, but I've never been caught waiting.
Yeah, I mean, split sites aren't really that ideal, but I'd probably recommend that Tesla goes to where the WAV network is in Williams. Yeah. It's not as good because you don't really have the same amenity. You got toilets, that's fine, but you don't really have the same food choices because you got to go to the BP across the road and whatever. But
Yeah, but that wool shed, that wool shed, I would have had to wait 40 minutes for a coffee.
Plugged
in.
You got to unplug.
I walked in around and walked into the car, drive in, and there was nobody there, and got a coffee in 2 minutes.
There's a pro tip. Yes, yes. You walk through the drive-through. Yes.
You just make brum brum noises.
No, they've got a window to walk up to.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about
it.
Cool. Dearie me. Very good.
And if you can always on Apple Maps, like flick it, navigate somewhere and then flick it to your car, or you can even do navigation in your app.
Or
and then flick it to
you
your
can
car.
You can now pre-order at the wool shed to pick it up from there, so your coffee can be ready to pull up anyway.
Oh wow! Yeah.
See, eventually that's something that Tesla will offer as a service, so you could get Grok and it will order it for you.
I saw that, yeah.
And it will probably order it at the correct time, so that, or it'll give them your ETA so they can decide when to make it. That all those integrations are very much doable and will be done because Tesla is fond of innovating. So, even with Grok now on the younger cars, the younger Teslas in Australia that have the AMD Ryzen infotainment chips that can run Grok can be very useful. if you use it, if you do useful things with it, or even if you do useless things, it can be very entertaining.
But I noticed Grok came out in this last update, didn't it?
Exactly. Oh, and something else that I've come to learn is we are actually getting those of us who have got FSD in hardware for cars, we are actually getting some tweaks in FSD. They're just not major updates. So I just thought I'd correct the record there. So with the Grok update, there were some minor tweaks.
I haven't
but they're
gone
not
into
major.
it yet. So is Grok open for everybody?
It is, but only if your car has the AMD Ryzen infotainment CPU. Again, you can check that by clicking on the.
What language is that?
Oh, right. So if you click on the menu button in your car and you go to software and you go to car information, it'll say infotainment hardware. If it says Intel, then you're out of luck. If it says AMD, so that's that AMD stands for Advanced Micro Devices. They're just a manufacturer, and AMD Ryzen RYZEN, I think, something like that. Then you're in luck, and then you're. The point is, if you've had the update on your menus, you'll see if there's something new, you'll see a little blue dot underneath an icon.
So you're right.
And sometimes if the blue dot is inside a sub menu, you'll see like a blue dot on your menu icon, your little car icon. You click on that, then you get a list of items, and then you'll see a blue dot next to the relevant sub item. And like I said, if you've got a more modern Tesla, a younger one, then you can have Grok, or you'll have Grok.
Right.
And you can attach it to if you have your own Grok account, like if you've got X Premium or whatever, you can actually attach it to your own Grok account so that whatever queries you ask Grok, those interactions you can actually look up on a PC or on your phone, which can be handy.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
No worries. Alrighty, any last questions or comments?
It's been excellent as usual.
It has, even if I say so myself. Or I'm just gonna. I wouldn't be so rude as to not agree with you.
You do a great job, Harold.
Oh, thanks, Paul.
Did everyone see those Unitree robots that done the martial arts display?
Yep.
Yeah, and I struggle.
This is going to have to be good.
Yeah, but I struggle.
Performing like superhuman.
I don't know if I mean. Yeah, but anything can be done as a demo, and if it lasts sort of 60 minutes and then wears out or breaks or something, then no one cares. Look, I don't even know I don't think Optimus could even do a backflip, and I don't think it. Well, put it this way, I can't do a backflip, and I get on all right, in my career and stuff. But yeah, look. It's easy to do stunts. I do interesting things, So
that would all be staged. That would all be pre-programmed.
Oh, it's all pre-planned. Oh, of course.
So
I mean,
it's not like Optimus will be like full AI, like learning and.
Well, I mean, there's nothing that guarantees that any of that was AI learned. It could have just been pre-programmed. I mean, that's not difficult to do. And again. I wouldn't want my $50,000 Optimus doing backflips and unnecessarily stressing its actuators just for a stunt, unless I was in the, like a famous YouTuber and went, if I was Mr. Beast, I'd get Optimus to jump off impossible cliffs and smash on the ground and get 30 million views and, $500,000 for that one video, and then I could afford to buy 10 Optimi and get them to do crazy things. But yeah, you're right, Damo. I mean, that stuff's impressive, but I guess as a rusted-on Tesla, not a fanboy, but someone who's into that ecosystem, any like Elon Musk said, any prototype, any demonstration is easy. Production is hard. And
apparently he commented on them robots, and he just commented very impressive or something like that.
Yeah, and it is. But Yeah. Well, are they built to last? If you did
Yeah,
that
no, I
10 times
understand.
over, would
Who
it snap
knows?
half the actuators? But yeah, and Elon Musk did say it was impressive, and it is impressive. It's, I guess, after Optimi have taken over 99.999%, perhaps backflipping samurai sword gripping performance artist is the last 0.0001% of jobs it's going to overtake. Perhaps.
I just think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know how you had the guy with the sword, and then Indy just pulls out the gun and shoots him. That'll be Optimus. That'll be Optimus. Yeah. He'll just rock up and just go bang.
Yeah, exactly. That'd
be pretty cool.
Alrighty. Okay. Any last final questions or comments? No, I think we're all pretty good. Now, obviously, let me just get set up. Ordinarily Pete would round out this show, and I would obviously ask the rhetorical question of, so Pete, how would you round out this show, as if I didn't already know? And he would invariably answer, as always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve. To which I would then naturally retort that the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everybody, and I really do look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of TOCWA's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
I know.
Okay.
Thanks.